Hi everyone, this is Professor Abby. I'm here to give a quick review on the chapter 12 on systems analysis and design. Let's just real quick go over the learning objectives here. Number one, describing the 6 phases of the system's life cycle. Number two, identifying the information needs and formulating possible solutions. Number three, analyzing existing information systems and evaluating the feasibility of alternative or other systems. Number four, identifying, acquiring, and testing new system hardware and software. Number five, switching from an existing information system to a new one with minimal risk. Number six, performing system audits and periodic evaluations. And number seven, describing what prototyping and rapid applications development is. So real quick, I'm just going to kind of put all that together so we have a good understanding of what the system's life cycle is, of which there are 6 phases. I'm turning on to page 291 of your textbook. The first phase of the system's life cycle is called the preliminary investigation phase. And this is where you actually find out what the problems are in the organization. What's going on? Why are there issues with certain things? Maybe with communication. Or why is there an issue with why if it's a car manufacturing plant, why is it that some of the doors on some of these cars that are being manufactured are not opening? When you open them, they're not opening once they have come through the manufacturing process. So this is where you try and identify what the problem is, okay? And you summarize what these problems are in a short report. There is a report at the end of each phase. That's very important to know, okay? Second part of the systems life cycle is the systems analysis phase, and this is where your current system is studied in depth. Okay, this is where you say, okay, we know we've got a problem. We've identified that there is a problem, but we have to kind of really study this current system in depth, or this current process in depth, okay, to really find out what's going on and to make new requirements. And you specify these requirements and you document them. Okay, so going back to the same example that I used, manufacturing company, the doors are not coming out the way that they should because they're not opening. You've identified that that's the problem, and now in your systems analysis, right, you study the current system in depth. Okay, you say, what's the current how are the doors being manufactured by robots? Are they being manufactured by humans? What's going on at certain stages in the process that could be causing this problem? Okay, and when you've done this in-depth analysis, you put it down in a report. Third phase is the systems design phase, and this is where a new or an alternate information system is designed and a design report is created. Okay, you found out what the problem is. You've studied the current system in depth and made new requirements. Now you say to yourself, okay, we need a new system, or we need to change the system or modify the system a little bit. And then so you create or you design this new system, and you also create what's called a design report showing how this new system has been designed. These reports are very important, for one thing, mostly because sometimes in the future when you have to come back and kind of figure out what happened, because sometimes you create a new system and there are problems still in the future, you've got to come back, look at the design report and say, okay, this is how this was done, and then you could use that report to fix what other problems might come up. Too often what's happening is when we have these systems that were created in the past, there were no in-depth reports put together with which we could kind of really see what went on, how the system was designed, and how we can fix it. Fourth phase is the systems development phase, and this is where new hardware or software is acquired, developed, and tested. Okay, this is where we now realize that we're now in the information age, where we use hardware and software, computers, whatever kind of software that works. Give an example: when the school was migrating from Windows XP to Windows 10, we needed to determine whether we needed new hardware, because Windows 10 was so new that it would not work with a lot of the existing hardware. Okay, and in some cases we did have to upgrade the hardware or replace the hardware. Okay, so that's your systems development phase, when new hardware or software is acquired, developed, and tested. The fifth phase, guys, is the systems implementation phase, and this is where the new information system is actually installed and people are trained to use it. So this is where you actually install the new system. We're going to use, let's use the car door maker analogy as well again. Okay, so they figured out that there's a problem. They've written the design report. They've determined that they need to have a new system in. Now they have to actually get to the nitty-gritty of installing the new system, making sure it works, and training the people, the existing people, to ensure that they know how to use the new system. The last phase, guys, is the systems maintenance phase, and this is an ongoing phase where the system is periodically evaluated and updated as needed. This is a really important and crucial phase, guys. It might be the last phase, but it's very important because it's a new system. You've got to make sure that it's doing what it was built to do, and the only way that you can do that is periodically. It could be every quarter, every 3 months. Evaluate the system, check what's going on, okay, make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And so in this case, you're going to need to have what's called performance metrics. Okay, is it performing at the percentage that it's supposed to perform? Is it doing what it's supposed to be doing? And if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, why is it not supposed to be? Why is it not doing what it's supposed to be doing? Okay, and does it need to be updated? Does it need to be tweaked a little bit? All right. So this is crucial. This is an important part of the systems lifecycle phase, the systems maintenance phase. So just to go over that again. Okay, there's 6 phases to the systems lifecycle. All right. There's phase 1, which is preliminary investigation. Phase 2, where you're analyzing the system in depth, it's called systems analysis. Phase 3, which is systems design. Okay, this is where a new or alternative system is recommended. Phase 4 is systems development. This is where new hardware or software is acquired. Phase 5 is systems implementation, where you actually implement the new system. And phase 6 is systems maintenance, where you're checking the new system, you're periodically evaluating it, and you are updating as needed. Computer professionals known as systems analysts are the ones who usually do this periodic evaluation. Okay. Now, there's something else that we need to just real quick go over. On phase 2, which is the systems analysis phase, there are a couple of ways in which you can actually get systems analysis done. And the book here talks about grid charts, system flow charts, data flow diagrams, automated design tools. I do want you guys to read through this because this does come up on the exam. These different types of tools that are used to implement phase 2, the systems analysis phase. I also want you to go over to page 301, where he talks about prototyping and rapid applications development. Now, assuming you didn't want to go through the systems life cycle and you said, you know what, I just want to do something else. That looks too tedious, too long. You could decide to do what's called prototyping, which means building a prototype system before you actually introduce the new system. So you're building the prototype system, you're testing it out, and you're making sure that it works before you actually build a new system. The drawback is that this can be expensive, okay, because you're building an actual replica of the new system, and you're testing it as well. So you're going to have to hire skilled people to test it. You're going to actually have to absorb the cost of building a prototype system. The other thing is rapid applications development, and this is where you actually, I'll give you an example. You might say, you know what, scratch that. I'm not going through the systems lifecycle phase. I'm just going to hire a consulting company. They have the trained personnel, they have the software, in-house software, and they can just come in and get this done. We really don't have to bother with going through the whole systems lifecycle thing. It is expensive. When you're hiring consultants or consulting company, it is significantly more expensive than, say, doing it yourself using the systems lifecycle phase. But sometimes it can be more efficient because it's going to take less time. They've probably done this tons of times, and you just don't have to do that. So it boils down to a management and a cost decision. I hope this review has been useful. Wishing you guys good luck. And see you guys on Tuesday.